Actually.
What is up, YouTube? My name is Jake. I'm with Full Revolution Garage, and this is a 1973 Datsun 620 that we are putting a TDI ALH out of a Volkswagen Jetta in. So this truck all started back last fall. It's actually Dylan's truck. I've been one of the main guys that's been working on it a lot lately. It's kind of him and I's project. He's the main guy, but I do a lot of the work. So we got the truck back in the fall. It came from, I believe, North or South Carolina. I can't remember off the top of my head exactly. So the frame is in really good shape, and for the year, it's not that bad. It does have some rust. We have been working on getting a lot of that fixed. It's been a slow process, painful process. If any of you have ever messed with rust, you know how big of a pain it can be. That's been one thing, but right now we've got the whole cab, the whole bed stripped off, and just getting everything fitted up. But anyway, so this started back in the fall. We got the truck. Immediately we had to tow it up here. It had the original motor, the transmission, everything. However, one of the rear spring purchase were rusted off. So we immediately took the bed off, to get access to it real easy, towed it over to drove it over to my shop. Sketchy, trust me. And we pulled the rear axle, got some new spring purchase, cut off the old, welded in some new, and then from there it's just been kind of this weird state of, okay, let's pull everything apart, let's start fixing some stuff along the way. Like we already did floorboards to get rid of a lot of that. The floorboards were just absolutely gone. That took a lot of time and a lot of welding. And then now we've been putting the motor in and getting that all lined up and getting ready to put the cab back on. That's going to be a lot of fun. So if you want, I'll take you around here and we'll go through it. All right. So like I said, this is out of a 2000 Volkswagen Jetta. If I can talk. Right now, we've got it sitting in here. We fabbed up some motor mounts and everything. We are going to do a timing belt. We're going to go through the motor and do the basic items. We did custom motor mount brackets. You can actually buy these metal plates online and weld in your own tabs and everything to put your motor mounts on. But we thought those were a little too expensive, and we used some professional high quality cardboard-aided design, also known as CAD, to create them. Made those, put those together, figured out we had to drop this bottom Crossmember. Just kind of did that one a little quick and dirty. It's not the prettiest, but it gets the job done. If you trim it up, it won't look too bad. After that, if I keep heading back, we did a brake caliper conversion on the front. I can't remember the exact vehicle you have, but you can buy these brackets online. That one we weren't too confident in, so we just ordered the brackets. They weren't that crazy expensive. Put those on, and then you get rotors off a certain thing, and you get pads and a caliper off of something else, and they're perfect for it. And then if we keep coming, up here, we're going to delete this because this will be right up against the firewall. We've got a different piece that'll come on here, and it won't have this rear exit. This originally had a pipe coming off. With that, the new one we have will be flat. It'll be flush up to here, and it'll just have two outlets coming out, which is a lot nicer for what we're doing anyways. So then we're looking back here at the transmission and everything. This is the adapter plate. I cannot remember off the top of my head where Dylan got this from, but it's a really nice kit. I absolutely love it. It's been fantastic. It comes with a starter and everything. But it's like a 2-piece adapter plate, and then it's got a harmonic, or the crank adapter. And then with this, so this is a Jeep bell housing and a Dodge transmission. The only reason it's the Dodge transmission is because it's 2-wheel drive. The AX15 is what this transmission is, comes in the Jeep Cherokee from, I believe it was about 91 and up, and it came in the early 90s Dodge Dakotas. The Cherokees were pretty much all 4-wheel drive, so it's really hard to find one without a T-case on it, and the ones with the T-case you can't just put a tail shaft on. You have to rip the whole transmission apart and replace the inner shaft. So we said, yeah, that's a lot of work, so we ended up buying one out of a Dodge Dakota, and then we just got the bell housing off of the Jeep. The bolts on, everything's the same, works out perfect. This is also an external slave cylinder model, so that way for service in the future, if we have to put a slave cylinder on it, it'll be a lot easier than having to drop the whole transmission. Right here, we're also going to do some coilover conversions. This originally did have a torsion bar setup. With the torsion bars, it just wasn't going to work with the bell housing. It wasn't going to fit. So we're like, all right, we're going to have to go to coilovers in the front. It's going to give it better handling. It's going to be a little bit more money, but it'll be worth it in the long run. Keep coming back. We did end up putting a custom transmission crossmember in. We built this once again with some cardboard aided design, CAD. This is just a piece of like 3.5 by 1 inch square tube. Figured it'd be plenty strong enough. I think it's like 1/8 inch thick. Just drilled a hole right in the center. We just Dylan and I both work at AutoZone, so we thumbed through all the transmission mounts that we had and saw one that we thought would work. Trimmed it up, made it fit. Only needed one hole to mount the transmission in. Works perfect. These pieces we custom made just at a 1/4 inch plate, just so we would have something to mount this to. Drilled and tapped holes for the crossmember bolts. Welded it all up, sturdy as an ox. Can't move at all. The rest of the frame, like I said, is in really good shape. Right now we're starting to work on some brake lines, trying to prevent more rust in the future, so we are using the nickel copper stuff, so that way brake lines don't rust out and burst. Back at the axle, mostly just stock right now. I think we're gonna run this diff to start. Eventually, if it does give us problems, we're talking about going to a Ford 8.8. Should be about the right track width, should be able to get that in there. It should work just fine. Like I said, we did do new purchase. Cut the old ones off, centered the axle up, tacked them in, rolled it out, burned them in. Real pretty easy, simple job. Able to correct a little bit of pinion angle, at least for the original drivetrain. With that, that's pretty much it on this that we've done so far. And then, so for the cab, if we look at it, it's sitting on 2x4s, if you can't tell. It's completely gutted. It's just pretty much a shell right now. The hood is just sitting on there, but as you can tell, there is hardly anything left. There's a little bit of remnants of a wiring harness there. Brake booster. All new brake lines are going to get run through here. We did have to massage a little bit of the seam firewall back here just to make the engine fit. We also had to cut this center section out, and we made it removable. Line this up with one hand here. Yeah, sits in like that. So that way it'll still be there and it can still retain the factory look. But it's removable so we can get the engine in and out, because there is hardly any room under here. So in order to even put that motor and trans while this is on the frame in, you have to use a tilter bar, and you got to get it dang near vertical even to get it in with this, without this front section. So got pretty good at it by the time we were done with this and we pulled the cab off. So we fit everything up first. If we go into the cab, we've done a lot of work in here. Everything's gutted out. I don't know if you have the lighting you'll need in there. But in here, we've done a lot of work. There's a lot of miscellaneous hardware and stuff that we probably should have been cataloging better. But completely redid the floors over here. Redid the top side of the body mount. Got to flip the cab up and do the bottom half because it was pretty bad. Over here, this is a section of the transmission tunnel because we got to modify it as well. Did a patchwork over here. This metal looks bad, but it's still pretty solid. That's all welded in. I had to completely redo this down, pretty much. Completely, this inner rocker structure was completely gone. Also, completely redid the body mount on that. Doesn't look like that side, but it should be structurally just fine. Should line up and everything's okay. The rest of the cab seems to be pretty good. There's a couple of spots of rust that still need to get snuffed out. But other than that, that's pretty much it on the cab. And then back there's the bed, and it's just, you know, the bed. It's got some rust that needs fixed. It's not terribly exciting. Although the previous owner did put some great stickers on there. And then this right here is the wiring harness. It looks like a terrible mess of craziness, and that's because it is. This wiring harness was, believe it or not, probably about double to triple the size of what it is now, and it still needs more stuff taken out of it. That's been kind of one of the big hurdles for Dylan and I to tackle. Is this wiring harness it's a lot. It's a lot of stuff to go through. But if you take your time, it's not too bad, and you just kind of pick through it one by one. It's not terrible. There's a couple of really good YouTube videos out there and some really good schematics of what wires you need to keep and what wires you need to get rid of. Other than that, there's not a whole lot. Just some extra parts laying around, so on and so forth. That should be just about everything on this truck so far. We're going to keep making videos. We are going to go through the engine and make sure everything's good with it. We did just pull the valve cover off recently, and it looks stellar in there. We just did some steering modifications, and that's been going really well. So hopefully here soon we can put the cab back on and get to work on wiring. Alright guys, don't forget, like, comment, subscribe, do all that good stuff, share it. I'm trying to get more followers lately, so alright guys, thanks for tuning in. Have a good one.